There you go. I imagine you're watching this video because you have a Delta style faucet that is leaking from the handle, like this. You guys stick around. I'm going to take you through step by step and show you how to fix this problem. Real simple problem. Anybody can do this. So first thing you want to do is turn off the water. This is the hot side. Cold side's on the right. Same with on the top. Left is always the hot, cold's always the right. So you're gonna turn this off. And always confirm before you start working. Make sure the water is in fact off. Cold's on, hot's off. Okay, so if for whatever reason you're not able to turn that valve, sometimes they get stuck. If you have the old plastic ones, they may actually be broken and it may not even turn off when you go to switch it. So what you'll want to do is go down to your basement and find your main source of water. It'll have this handle here, and you just want to turn that off.
Turn that off.
And okay, your next step is going to be to find the correct size Allen key. In this case, it's going to be a 5/64. And there's this tiny little knob underneath. You can actually pull this part off too. This just unscrews by hand. It'll make it. It's really important that you get the right size Allen key. You don't want to get one that's too small and strip this little set screw, because otherwise you'll be running into some problems. So the next step you're going to want to do is remove this handle. Sometimes it can be on there pretty tight, so you can even give her a little blast with some WD-40 if you have some. And then just let that, once it's kind of sat for a little bit, you can just take a flathead screwdriver and just kind of very evenly around all the edges. You don't want to break this. Just kind of wedge it back and forth, just kind of wiggle it back and forth to left and right until it gets loose enough that it'll just kind of pop right off. So you can scrape some of the calcium that's underneath. Just get all that off there. And eventually, this will just pop right off. So I had years, I put the handle back on, and then I just kind of wiggled back and forth and used this to help kind of guide. And again, you don't want to break it. You can see on the inside, you can see all that calcium build up. There's a bunch of calcium. So our next step is going to be to take our crescent wrench or our all 16ths here and put it around this fitting that's holding on our cartridge. And you're going to make sure you want to spin that to the left, so counterclockwise. It'll be loosening. And that came pretty easily there. If it's really tight, again, you could probably use some WD-40. And we'll take this right off like that. And after that, we can just give this a little wiggle. You want to make sure you remember the orientation, depending on the cartridge you have, of where this is located. There's this little plastic piece here. So we're going to remember that that's in the front. And then we're going to install our new cartridge back the exact same way that this one's in there. That'll just pull right out. If you have some pliers, that might probably make it a little bit easier to pull this out. Oh, so there you go. That's your cartridge. Depending on what year or model you have, your cartridge might be a little different. So you'll take this to your local hardware store or go on Amazon, and you can see if you can find one that looks pretty much the same as that. In this case, you're going to want the one with the extra little fitting that goes in here. So if you're fixing the same model I have, it'll be a D29. You'll make sure that the pack has this extra little piece in it. It'll come with it. And we'll just take this out of the package. Once it's all out of the package, you want to make sure you put the extra little plastic piece in. So you're going to want to make sure you clean up all this extra calcium on there. Just take maybe your flathead screwdriver and you just kind of push that off a little bit. Make sure you're not damaging the threads or anything that you're going to have to be putting that back onto. So just rub all that old stuff off. just so the new one will go on a little pretty easy. So, wipe it off with some tissue there. Got our new cartridge. Make sure the plastic piece is going back in. Same way, you want it facing the same way that it was when it came out. There'll be a little notch here that'll go in to the other notch on that side. And you can just push that down as far as you can. You want to line it up, and then once you put your fitting on here, it'll push everything down nice and evenly. So we'll take our fitting now. Everything's oriented right. Just get it nice and hand tight first. Take your good old all 16ths. Give it a nice snug tight. You don't need, again, just snug tight. You don't want this to break or anything like that. It's just aluminum, so you can crack it really easily. So don't put your all into it. Okay. Your next step is you can take your handle, and we're going to plop that back on. Again, you want to make sure that you cleaned out the inside of all the calcium. That'll make it go on nice and evenly. Take your set screw with your Allen key. Plop that back on there. Make sure you don't drop this down your drain. That would be very unfortunate. And then you'll want to go clockwise to tighten this all the way in. Once that's all the way nice and snug, you can turn it to the power end here and just give it that last little bit. Again, you don't want that to be super, super tight just in case you have to get it off again. You don't want to be stripping that bolt. Next, put your handle back on. Finish installing the handle, I guess. So before you turn your water back on, just make sure you twist it back and forth a couple times. Give it a little pull. Make sure that everything's nice, tight, and snug, and you don't notice any obvious problems. So our close to final step is to turn the hot water back on. So just give this a grab. Turn it. Sometimes it's a bit of a little hard to get to. Right, so our last step is to turn on the hot water, make sure it runs, make sure you check the back, make sure there's no leaking, and you're good to go. I hope this video helped you guys out, and if it did, like, and hopefully I'll see you the next time. Have a great day, everyone.